Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago recently held an ICT Open Forum seminar at its offices entitled Radio and Television Talk Shows, Maintaining Ethical and Legal Conduct. Critical issues discussed included the exercise of the rights of freedom of expression or free speech and freedom of the press, constraints on the exercise of these rights. When do we defame another? When can content transmitted be seen to encourage or provoke a breach of the peace? Guiding principles of ethical journalism. Mr. Selby Wilson, chairman of TATT, delivered opening remarks at the forum.
Trinidad and Tobago has led the way in opening up the media. The authority has issued some 37 radio licenses, several cable TV licenses, free-to-air TV licenses, and leased TV channels. The broadcasting sector is truly open and provides choice to customers. However, with this proliferation of broadcasting channels, the authority has observed an increasing deterioration in broadcasting quality. In my opinion, this is so because broadcast executives are not insisting on the standards and acceptable broadcast behavior rooted in ethical principles.
Corporate Secretary of TATT echoed Mr. Wilson's views and spoke more in depth about our situation.
We have certain restrictions on what we can and cannot transmit and broadcast. And information or material that degrades or portrays in a negative manner or discriminates against or encourages discrimination against any person or group by reason of race, origin, class, religion, or sex. Them damn woman, them hoity-toity Catholic, them Indian people who feel they own all the land, them bad black boy in Laventille. We have to be careful about how we transmit content. Do we transmit any content that is hostile to any country, not just ours, but any country? Them damn Guyanese coming and picking all we pocket. Some serious things. We have to learn and think about what we do. Do we endanger the security, violate law, defame? Are we subversive to peace or public order? Do we do anything contrary to the law of Trinidad and Tobago?
Mr. Darren Leasing gave his views from the perspective of a broadcast station executive as it pertains to the marriage of business and social responsibility as broadcasters.
Talk as a medium may have opened up the airways and added to democracy through free speech, but we have to pay the price as many who are presenters are not trained and coupled with those who lack professionalism to effect broadcast standards that enhances the democracy and therefore do not enhance the quality of life within our society. The opening of the airwaves through the granting of licenses brought with it expectations of enhanced programming generally. This did not happen as many persons holding newspaper licenses sought out to bill out their licenses, as with everything in Trinidad and Tobago, followed the leader and created talk monsters. In more ways than one, we got a variety of talk, be it Indo talk, Trinidadian talk, or just plain old talk. 19 years ago, there was talk in radio and there was talk on television. There was always talk, but it could not be termed talk shows. It was good radio and even better television, with the likes of Auntie Hazel, Uncle Ian, among others. Trinidad and Tobago had long known of the familiarity of two TV channels in TTT and Channel 4, and in radio there was NBS and TBC as the institutions that we grew up around. These formed the nucleus of what we would eventually explode from one-way radio conversations with the public. Then along came a fellow called Louis Leasing, who believed the time had come for, as he put it, real talk, and moved with precision to ride the wave of change, and this change opened the floodgates to talk radio at Power 102 FM, with a tagline, "No more limits." The evidence would show that this situation and its team lived that tag with no-holds-barred talk, with topics on everything, inclusive of subjects long considered taboo for radio.
Does TATT monitor all radio stations, or do you all just depend on complaints from the public to censor?
The answer is no, we do not have persons, anyone listening actively to any of the programs being aired, either on radio or television. We do have, and we also call it a monitoring facility, but it's really a recording facility. We do have a facility where we record all the programs or all the stations that are on air, radio and television. And that is a facility that we have put in place many years ago, since about 2006, 2007, thereabouts, and recently augmented. So now we have the capability to monitor all stations. The second part of the question in relation if we depend on complaints in relation to content aired, either on radio or television, the answer is yes. At this point, it's largely complaint-led. We receive a complaint, we investigate the complaint, and we provide relief, as we are required to do under Section 18M of the Act. Recently, we've started to take a more proactive approach, largely because of some of these issues raised both by the chairman, our chairman, and corporate secretary. So we become a bit more proactive now, where we actually essentially not listening or not seeing, but putting things in place so that we can get fairly instant feedback on what is taking place on the airwaves.
There was a program on a radio station called Prime 106 FM, Darren mentioned it. They started, their format as talk. They had a program called the Breakfast Club, hosted by the eminences of Reginald Dumas and Diana Mahabe Wyatt. And then there was a program on a station which was then known as just 104 FM, moderated and hosted by, again, the journalistic eminence of Tony Fraser and people like Raymond Edwards. In both cases, those formats and those programs were killed because somehow there wasn't the audience and the market for it, and we end up with where we are. So there is something to be considered about the fact that what purported to be and what strove to be quality radio talk could not survive, and we end up with what we have now.
The TTBBA is the umbrella organization of the major media houses in Trinidad and Tobago. We do not go and tell station X, Y, or Z what to do. We can't interfere with their business. And remember I talked about that onion. Standard. So we strive for the highest standards, and we advocate it, and we push. If you follow the media of recent, we've been having numerous training workshops over the last 2-3 years. And that is our way of trying to level it. We're also working with COSTAT and UWI's schools of journalism. So we're trying our best to harness the best crop. But I have to go back to the onion. When some of them are publicly traded, some of them have different shareholders, some of them have different managers with different mindsets on how things ought to operate. I'm trying to show you how plural our country is just as plural how our organizations operate.
Mr. Chris Secharan, CEO of TATT, rounded off the ICT Open Forum by informing on TATT's current work regarding national broadcast policy.
We at the authority, we are seeking to inform policy to the extent that we can. We've already produced 2 or 3 position papers on the issues of public broadcasting services. We're doing one on local content, ownership, on media ownership. We already have a position paper which our board has looked at. So we are treating the various issues that are likely to arise. Our intention is that coming out of that discussion, we hope to complete by September of this year, those position papers, to then propose to government an amendment to national broadcast policy.